We want to instead perform our exercises to the point of technical failure instead of total failure. How about a quick overview of the 10 magnificent Primal Blueprint lifestyle laws, first introduced to the world by Mark Sisson back in 2005, 2006 on marksdailyapple.com, and later in the best-selling book 2009, Primal Blueprint, that was credited with kickstarting the ancestral lifestyle movement, which is going so strong today. And Mark and I are so pleased to see the Primal Blueprint still in the bestseller category and still really the best entry point with a comprehensive education on how to live an ancestral-inspired, long, healthy, active, happy life, modeling and adapting the lifestyle behaviors of our hunter-gatherer Homo sapiens ancestors into the reality of crazy, hectic modern life. So we want to make sure we emphasize that word adapting so that we don't have to go and freeze our butts off all winter and starve because that's what our ancestors did. So a graceful adaptation of these 10 laws, which are the comprehensive coverage of how to live a healthy ancestral-inspired lifestyle. And by doing so, getting away from the many modern disconnects from our Homo sapiens genetic expectations for health that cause all these chronic disease lifestyle problems today. So I'm just going to hit these 10 laws really quick. Of course, you can get vastly more detail from the beautiful book, which is still available on Amazon, a great Christmas gift, The Primal Blueprint. Law number 1 is eat plants and animals. And we should clarify that we're talking about easy to digest, nutrient-dense, an animal-based diet where you emphasize the most nutritious foods on the earth that have fueled human evolution for 2 million years, things like red meat, like the oily cold water fish, pasture-raised eggs, the superfoods like liver and oysters and salmon eggs, and you can navigate the best foods and how to design the most nutrient-dense diet by downloading my free chart called the Carnivore Scores Food Rankings Chart at bradkearns.com. And when it comes to plant foods, we want to be strategic and choose the most nutritious, easy to digest plant foods. That is going to start with fruit, in my opinion. And on the chart, it has many other categories of plant foods, like fermented foods, like avocado, like the correctly chosen oils, first cold press extra virgin olive oil, things like that can be a nice addition to the diet. And also being careful, as we talk about in law number 2, avoid poisonous things. That would be particularly what Mark and I have called the big 3 toxic modern foods in many recent books. This is refined industrial seed oils and refined grains and sugars, and especially all the nasty, heavily processed products made with ingredients in the big 3. Again, seed oils, refined grains, refined sugars, and all the packaged, processed, frozen, and fast foods made with these heavily altered products from their natural state. So avoiding poisonous things back in primal times was don't eat those dangerous poison berries. And today we have things from multinational food corporations that have big billboards and commercials and convincing you that life is better when you chow down on Cheetos while you're watching the NFL for 10 hours on Sunday. So we want to make a concerted effort to eliminate processed foods from the diet as our number 1, possibly number 1 overall lifestyle goal. Definitely number 1 dietary goal. And we can also appreciate the great advancements in what is called the carnivore or the animal-based movement, where the high toxin plant foods are potentially problematic, even though they're widely regarded as healthful with plant-based marketing efforts. And so when you're looking at your kale smoothies and your salads and foods that are potentially problematic, and Dr. Paul Saladino does a good job designating these in categories of roots, seeds, stems, and leaves. So the plant foods that fall into those categories, especially in their raw form. So when you're talking about a raw green smoothie with a bunch of kale and celery stuffed in there, as I've talked about a lot, widely regarded as a health boosting antioxidant bomber, but also high in these natural plant toxins that can cause significant problems in sensitive people. gas, bloating, digestive disturbances, and all manner of inflammatory and autoimmune conditions in the body. So when we're choosing plant foods, we want to make sure, for example, that they are soaked, sprouted, cooked, or fermented to neutralize these plant toxins and get the maximum benefits if you choose to enjoy steamed broccoli with your meal. Much better than consuming it raw, like you might see on appetizer platform. So that is the avoid poisonous things. Of course, the big three processed modern foods, and then also other potentially problematic foods. Law number 3 is move frequently at a slow pace. This could widely be considered as the number 1 fitness or / exercise goal. So more important than adhering to a devoted fitness regimen is to just get up and strive to increase all forms of general everyday movement. This includes walking as the centerpiece. This includes taking brief movement breaks from prolonged periods of stillness in front of the screen. And it also includes structured cardiovascular workouts conducted at the appropriate heart rate, which is no higher than 180 minus your age in beats per minute. So if I'm 30 years old, that would be 180 minus 30. My maximum aerobic heart rate, my limit for a properly conducted aerobic workout would be 150 beats per minute. I'm not, but it's a great example that you can add and subtract easily. And so that particularly here on move frequently, a slow pace, law number 3 is to avoid the chronic exercise patterns, which are so health destructive. I've talked about so much on other shows. Law number 4, lift heavy things. This entails doing some brief, intense, high resistance exercise, whether it's with heavy weights or machines or stretch cords and tubings, some way to put your body under resistance load, ideally performing full body functional movements. That's why you hear so many benefits about doing exercise like squatting or leg pressing or deadlifting. It involves so many big major muscle groups. So you want to execute precise technique. You want to quit before your power output declines to where you become fatigued. So some of these boot camp style workouts where you're lifting, you're doing a bicep curl over and over and over again, or raising until your arms are about to fall off. We want to instead perform our exercises to the point of technical failure instead of total failure. Technical failure is when you require a break in correct form in order to keep doing reps. So we want to stop when your form starts to break even a tiny little bit. And I'm always looking at, for example, my deadlift form to be maximum safety, minimum risk, and always cleaning it up and thinking about precise correct form when I'm lifting heavy things. I enjoyed our podcast interview with Dr. Doug McGuff, where he talks about the Big 5 workout, where it's as simple as this: once a week, 5 major full body functional exercises, single set to failure, and that is the ideal protocol to get stronger muscles. So all it takes is about 12 minutes a week with a single, pretty badass difficult workout, but something that anyone can do. Law number 5, sprint once in a while. This is one of the quintessential human forms of movement, is that brief, explosive, all-out sprint. It is the single most impactful workout with the highest return on investment for all aspects of fitness improvement, including dropping excess body fat. I'm going to talk about a fantastic article written by the late, great Charles Poliquin, citing research that the sprint workout, even lasting for a few minutes, has a vastly better, superior impact for fat reduction goals to prolonged cardiovascular sessions because of this excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. So when you sprint and you push yourself to the absolute maximum or near maximum for these brief all-out sprints with plenty of rest in between efforts so that the workout's not depleting and exhausting, what happens is over the next 72 hours, you burn more calories. You turbocharge your metabolism to drop excess body fat. And this is use it or lose it principle, people. So we have to integrate sprinting into our fitness goals. So many people disregard it and spend their hours climbing the staircase and watching TV at the health club. But we want to perform these brief all-out efforts, especially high impact. But if you're not prepared for that, you're not adapted yet, guess what? You can start with low impact sprints. And that can be, for example, sitting on a stationary bike, doing a rowing machine, but doing something that takes you to near maximum effort for a very short duration. And my commonly cited template for a properly conducted sprint workout is 4 to 8 repetitions of a sprint lasting between 10 and 20 seconds with extensive rest in between those efforts, such that you deliver a consistent quality of effort with every sprint. You're not compromising your technique or feeling extra strain on the 6th, 7th, and 8th reps. You want to feel just as good as you did on the first rep. That's why that 6-to-1, minimum 6-to-1 recovery to work ratio is recommended. And that gets us through 5 of the 10 Primal Blueprint laws. As you realize, the first 5 are dedicated to eating and exercise. And the next 5 we categorize as the Primal Blueprint lifestyle laws. And since we want a quick takeaway breather show, I'm going to end show number 1, part number 1 here, and then we'll cover the second 5 Primal Blueprint lifestyle laws in part 2. Thank you so much for listening, watching.